I guess the biggest surprise of Sunday and what most of the pundits are talking about right now is the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers have been in the last two NFC Championship games. 2 years ago, they lost to the 49ers, and last year they lost to the Buccaneers. They got Devontae Adams, I guess, their wide receiver. They've got a pretty good running game, pretty good offensive line. They got the reigning MVP and Aaron Rodgers, and they just looked horrible. I mean, they just got smoked by the Saints, 38-3. The game was never really close. And I heard an interesting stat. I read it on Twitter, I think it was, and then heard it again today, that Aaron Rodgers' passer rating for that, he threw for 115 yards or right around there, no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. His passer rating was like 32.6. And this stat said that if he would have just spiked the ball every pass, his passer rating would have been higher than what he had. So that shows you how bad Aaron Rodgers was. Now, the question that everybody's debating right now is this a hangover from his summer of not really doing any football and talking about he might retire and so forth and so on. And then the flip side of that, are his teammates, probably a little bit disenchanted with him for the way he strung them along all summer long. So what are your guys' thoughts on that, Nate?
I think I don't know what to attribute his performance of the Packers' loss. I don't know what to attribute it to, but I do think they're going to bounce back and they're going to win the division still. I don't think this is a sign of a bad season to come. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get back to his usual self at some point, and the offense will start clicking again, and they'll be scoring a lot of points again. I saw this on Instagram the other day. The Saints beat the Buccaneers 38-3 last year too.
Right.
And then you saw how the Bucs came back after that. So I mean, some of the Saints are weird, and Joseph talked about this in the for preview, or maybe it was the fantasy episode. But so like Joseph knew this already, that Jameis Winston, as much as he's really not a good quarterback, he can have games like that where he throws like 5 touchdowns. Like he can have these really prolific games at times, and he happened to have one here, and. So looking at both sides of this, the Saints aren't going to do this every week. So this is not – I don't think Saints fans should be overly optimistic now going into week 2. And then on the other side of it, the Packers, I think, whatever you want to say, if it was his offseason that he wasn't really dedicated maybe or whatever, but Aaron Rodgers will be back to form eventually. Maybe not MVP-type form like last year, but he'll be back to form and they'll win the division. So this was a weird game. I think anybody who was picking this game going in probably lost that pick. I mean, who would have thought the Saints are going to win by 35 points. But I would say going into week 2, my view of each of these teams wouldn't change no matter who they play in week 2.
I think starting with the Saints, like I said, he's very capable of that. The interesting thing is, do we see a little more of that now that Sean Payton is supposedly like offensive guru? Maybe people are talking about he's a better coach of quarterbacks than Bruce Arians was, or I thought
Arians was supposed to be like a QB whisperer though. Is that him or is it somebody else?
I don't know.
Okay.
But so that'll be interesting to watch. He's not going to throw 5 touchdowns every week. He's going to throw a lot of picks also. But I think if anything, it's I'm a little more concerned about the Packers than maybe most people are, or maybe you seem to be. Rodgers didn't throw a touchdown. He only completed 5 passes to Monday Adams, 56 yards, no touchdowns there. It seemed like last year, every game they had like 8-9 catches for a touchdown or 2. And then they really don't. They had 4. Their leading rusher had 19 yards, and they really don't. Historically, they've never had like a really good running back they can rely on. So if Rodgers falters at all, for any reason this year, they're kind of done, right? I mean, he's not going to play this bad every week, but
no.
He has a pedestrian year and throws 25 touchdowns and 15 picks, which is way off from last year. I think the Packers might be in a little trouble here, maybe like a 7-9, 8-8.
The running game does concern me, but like you said, I feel like they've never really had like a great running game. They always seem to be all right, but they had.
He never really plays like that either. He did.
No,
that's right. True, but like I said, I don't know if he'll continue to play that. I thought it was strange. He had Randall Cobb only caught 1 pass and 1 target. That's the guy
Right.
he thought first chance back together. He thought they would have.
Yeah. And he asked for him to come back. You know, I mean, that's another thing that I wonder if his teammates are wondering is that, you know, he wanted this guy back and he wanted that guy back, and yet you're having trouble all game long and you only throw one target to Randall Cobb. I mean, the guy that you specifically asked them to bring back, you know. And then if you look at Aaron Rodgers, his what's the word I'm looking for? His demeanor during the game, he almost looked disinterested, you know.
He did, yeah.
You know, now sometimes he's not much of a guy that looks that interested, but my point is he almost looked like he didn't care, which is not a good look for a guy that's been saying all season long that he wants this and he wants that, and he wants this guy gone, and you know, it just didn't really look right to me. Now they're going to get healthy again Monday night because they play the Lions, you know, so they'll win.
The Lions put up what 34 points.
Yeah,
Well,
but they
a lot of
scored.
that was at the end of the game. It was
They scored 2 in garbage time, which you know doesn't really matter.
the
But
game was over with like not much time left, and somehow they got just a few quick touchdowns.
Yeah. So the Packers will be 1-1. Then the question is, what do they do after that? And I think that's going to be the real challenge for the Packers. And you know, going back to the Saints real quick, let me say I agree with everything that was said about Jameis Winston, but you know, he only threw for 145 yards, which is really interesting. And they didn't ask,
148, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't ask him to do much. And he said this was an interesting comment. He seems to be a little more mature, you know. And we always talk about how you know, how if you bring in a rookie quarterback, how much it would benefit that rookie quarterback for sitting for a year, right? Well, last year he sat, right? And he sat behind Drew Brees, and Drew Brees brought him along and taught him some things, you know, and he seems a little more mature. He didn't turn the ball over. And an interesting comment he had after the game was the play that he hated the most was, the play that he was most proud of was one where he threw it away. And that tells me that he's got a mentality now where, hey, I'm not going to try to gunsling it down the field. I'm going to play within the offense. And if it's not there, I'm going to throw it away. Now, if that's the new Jameis Winston with his talent, the Saints could be pretty dangerous.
That's a good point. We've been saying all along that he has talent, you know, obviously. So that's your point. If he really has changed, then yeah, maybe the Saints, maybe they're even better than last year. Because if he really has changed, he's going to be better than Brees was last year.
That's right. He's got more talent than Brees did the last 2 years.
And maybe this is like a reboot of his career, like as if he was drafted last season. In other words, like, and that was his rookie year. This is like beginning his career anew. Maybe that's the case, and they're doing it the right way, like they sat him last year and stuff. But then again, though, even if a guy got off on a bad foot starting his career, like they tried to play him too quickly, whatever. If he's good, eventually, I think he'll get together. And Winston has had a couple seasons as the starting quarterback in the NFL, and he just doesn't seem to get together. You know what I mean? So I don't know how it all of a sudden flipped. You know, I don't know, unless his mentality was always different than it is now or something, and he has a better mentality about throwing it away, or I don't know, but